In the heart of ancient Japan, nestled between the whispering forests and the serene mountains, lay a small village that time seemed to have forgotten. This village, known for its humble beauty and tranquil way of life, was home to a young boy named Kenji. Kenji was unlike the other children in the village. He harbored a deep, burning desire to become a samurai, the noble warriors of legend who upheld justice, honor, and the way of the sword with unyielding discipline. Kenji's fascination with the samurai was ignited by tales told by the village elders, stories of legendary figures such as Miyamoto Musashi, who mastered the art of the sword and lived by a philosophy that transcended mere combat. These tales spoke of a way of life that sought harmony with the natural world, discipline of the mind and body, and a code of ethics that valued respect, loyalty, and courage above all else. Despite his dreams, Kenji faced discouragement from those around him. The villagers, including his own family, saw the life of a samurai as one of conflict and hardship, far removed from the peaceful existence they cherished. Kenji, his father would say, "The path of the samurai is fraught with danger. Our life here is simple, but it is safe and full of joy. Why yearn for the sword when you can find happiness in the fields?" Kenji understood his father's concerns, but his heart yearned for something more. He felt a deep connection to the samurai spirit, a calling that he could not ignore. It was this yearning that led him to a fateful encounter that would change his life forever. One day, as the cherry blossoms began to bloom, heralding the arrival of spring, a lone samurai wandered into the village. The villagers were awestruck by the presence of the warrior, who carried himself with an air of serene confidence. The samurai's gaze was calm and penetrating. His armor bore the marks of many battles, yet he exuded a sense of peace that was almost tangible. Kenji was immediately drawn to the samurai, seeing in him the embodiment of all he aspired to be. When the samurai announced that he would be staying in the village for a short while, seeking rest and respite from his travels, Kenji saw his chance. He approached the samurai, his voice trembling with both nervousness and excitement. "Honorable samurai," he began, "my name is Kenji, and it is my greatest desire to learn the way of the samurai, to wield the sword and live by its philosophy. Will you teach me?" The samurai looked at Kenji, seeing the earnestness in the boy's eyes, and smiled gently. He replied, "The way of the samurai is not merely about mastering the sword. It is a way of life, a pursuit of wisdom and inner peace. But I see a strong spirit within you. I will share with you what I can, but in return, you must promise to use the lessons I teach you to seek understanding and harmony, not just power." Over the following days, the samurai taught Kenji not only the basics of swordsmanship, but also the deeper aspects of the samurai philosophy. He spoke of the importance of discipline, of mastering one's emotions, and of living with integrity. "A true samurai," he explained, "seeks to overcome not just his enemies, but himself. The greatest battle is the one fought within, against our own fears, doubts, and desires." Kenji absorbed every word, every lesson with an eager heart. But it was not until a particular incident that he truly began to understand the depth of the samurai's teachings. One afternoon, as Kenji was practicing his sword strokes by the river, a group of older boys from the village approached him. They had always mocked Kenji's dreams, seeing him as a foolish dreamer chasing an impossible fantasy. "Look at Kenji playing at being a samurai again," they taunted. "Do you really think you'll ever become one of those legendary warriors? Or are you just going to be a farmer, like the rest of us?" Faced with their mockery, Kenji felt a surge of anger and humiliation. He remembered the samurai's lessons on mastering one's emotions, but in that moment, his desire to prove himself overwhelmed him. He challenged the boys to a test of skill, hoping to silence their taunts with a display of his newly learned abilities. The samurai, having observed the confrontation from a distance, intervened before the situation could escalate. He addressed the boys calmly, diffusing the tension with his presence alone. Then he turned to Kenji, his expression serious. "Kenji," he said, "you have learned the forms of the sword, but you have yet to grasp the essence of the samurai spirit. The path of the samurai is not one of aggression or proving one's worth through conflict. It is a path of self-mastery, of living with purpose and dignity, regardless of the opinions of others. Ashamed, Kenji bowed his head, realizing his mistake. The samurai placed a hand on his shoulder, offering words of encouragement. Do not despair, Kenji. This is but one step on your journey. The way of the samurai is a lifelong pursuit, filled with challenges and lessons. Today, you have learned the importance of humility and the strength that lies in true self-control. Remember, a samurai's power is not in his sword, but in his heart. In the days that followed, Kenji reflected deeply on the samurai's words. He began to understand that the essence of the samurai philosophy was not about external achievements or recognition, but about the cultivation of inner strength, wisdom, and peace. He realized that the true battle was not against the taunts of his peers, but against his own impulses and insecurities. As the samurai prepared to leave the village, Kenji approached him once more. "Honorable samurai," he said, "I cannot thank you enough for the lessons you have taught me. I now see that the path of the samurai is much more than I had imagined. It is a path I wish to follow, not for glory or fame, but for the peace and strength it will bring to my spirit." The samurai smiled, recognizing the growth and maturity in Kenji's words. "Kenji, you have taken your first true step on the way of the samurai. Remember, the journey is long and filled with challenges, but it is also rich with opportunities for growth and enlightenment. Carry the lessons you have learned in your heart and let them guide you as you walk your path." With that, the samurai departed, leaving behind a legacy that would inspire not only Kenji, but the entire village. Kenji, now with a deeper understanding of the samurai philosophy, dedicated himself to living by its principles, embodying the spirit of the samurai in his every action and thought. Years passed, and Kenji grew into a man of wisdom and integrity, respected by all who knew him. He never forgot the lessons of the samurai, and though he never took up the sword in battle, he lived his life as a true samurai, guided by the principles of discipline, respect, and inner peace. Through his example, he taught others in the village the true meaning of the samurai way, proving that the greatest strength lies not in the weapons we wield, but in the virtues we embody. And so, Kenji's story became a legend in its own right, a tale of a young boy who dared to dream and, in doing so, discovered the profound wisdom of the samurai spirit. It was a reminder that the path to true greatness begins not with external achievements, but with the mastery of one's own heart and mind.